This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we're picking up on Shar Avodat Elokim, the gate of serving Hashem, chapter 9. In Sepharia, it's 3, 9, 12. In your book, I think it's page 332 or 332. Good. Umechachmat habore yitala. So we're in the midst of explaining over here why God put us into this physical, material world to begin with. What was the point of that? What is the point of that? And basically, he gave three ideas. First of all, that we'll have the ability here to remove the foolishness and to illuminate our thinking so we can learn to think straight. And we'll have choices in this world and we'll have challenges. So we have the wisdom, right? People say, Adam and Chava, well, if they were like children, then they can't be held accountable. They were adult in their understandings, but they had different understandings than we had. So we have to have the wisdom, the ability. We have to have the choices, and there has to be challenges in those choices that we are making. And we pick up Umechachmat Haboriyat Allah. And based on Hashem's wisdom, Bara Lecha Olam Hazeh B'chol Asher Bo. He created Olam Hazeh, this world with all that which it contains. Make kupa from the inanimate, v'tzomeach, that which grows, v'chai, that which is alive, al seder metukan v'anhaga nechona, in a very, very organized, set, proper manner. Everything here, and there are many stories that we have in the Navi and amongst the sages in the Talmud. What's the need? I think King David Melech asked, Hashem, why do you create mishugaim? Why do you create people who are mentally imbalanced? Well, David needed that when he was running away from Shaul. He came to Gat Melech Plishtim, I think it was, and people said to the king, "Look who's here! This is David, who has fought so many battles against us and has destroyed us." So David started to act like he was a Meshugana, and they brought him to the palace, and the king said, "Achaseh Meshugaim anachnu." Right? Do we not have enough Meshugaim around here? You bring me another one? That can't be David, and David was thereby saved. And all these different insects and all these things, there are so many different insects in this world. But our understanding is each thing is serving its purpose. Everything is all seder and an order, metukan, that is proper, fixed, and everything is there for our benefit, that we can use it. I'm sorry. Ubachar lo mi sugulot yisudotav. Heichal metukan. And then God chose from the greatest components this perfect assemblage, which is the human being. Dome la'olam, similar to the entire world, b'sharashav, in terms of our roots, v'toldosav v'tchunosav, right? We are referred to as an olam katan, as a miniature world, a microcosm of the world. Upatach lecha bo, and God opened within us chamisha sha'arim, 5 different gateways, el ha'olam, through which we interact with this world. V'ivkir aleim chamisha shoarim min emanav, and he appointed 5 gatekeepers, or 5 functions of these gates. Min emanav, and these are his trustworthy servants that he appointed. Vasharim, what are these 5 gates? Heim klei hachushim, those are the organs, the vessels that we have, which allow for our senses, which allow for us to interact with the world around us. Ha'inayim, eyes, oznayim, ears, af, nose, lashon, tongue, v'hayadayim, and the hands, v'hashoarim, and the shoarim, heim hachushim, These gates have their gate, that which allows that which sends things through those gates. Those are the shoarim, and they are the five senses. Hamishtamshim bahem, that we use with which to interact with this world. Behem, and they are chush haraot, the sense of vision, chush hashema, the sense of hearing, v'hareach, sense of smell, v'hatam, sense of taste, v'hamishush, and the sense of feeling. Asher bahem, that through them tagi'i el kol ta'alatayich v'olam hazeh. It's only through that we can reach all that we are meant to accomplish in this world. We need to be interacting with this world, and we'll see, interacting in a positive fashion. And there are within this palace of the human being, God prepared arba ma'alot la'arba negidim. There are these four different rulers that rule over this heichal, this palace, lan hego, behem, and they are hamoach, the brain, which gives us the seichel, v'halev, and the heart, which gives us our passions, our wants. Now, even though, right, you would say, "Oh, Rabbi, that's just that's just what we have in our writing, and the heart doesn't feel anything. The heart is just a muscle that's pumping the blood. And even though we have all the expressions, even in English, you're heartbroken, right? She stole or he stole my heart, right? But I think the understanding is that there is a spiritual counterpart to every physical organ that we have. And the spiritual counterpart of the heart is where the passions are. And the Psukim even say, these words should be al levavecha, on your heart, right? Which means that we should feel them, we should sense them. And the tefillin that are worn, they are Shema Yisroel up by the head, that's our intellect, and it's by our heart, that's our passion, and it's on our arm, which means our actions, because we have to have that Shema Yisrael, acceptance of Hashem, and that Jewish pledge of allegiance, as I like to call it, needs to be intellectual, emotional, and also practical. So we too understand that the heart is, we view the heart as more than just a muscle that's pumping the blood around our body, but that is the seat of emotions. V'ha-kaved, the liver, which he says that's the nefesh, mishkan ha-nefesh hatzomechet, that is the area that allows for growth. And then there are the sexual parts of man and woman, and that is which gives us the ability to give birth and to have generations that come from us.
It's funny that they use the word beitzim, which is slang, instead of ashachim, which is
the
actual word.
Yeah. Vitikain, realize this was written well over 1,000 years ago. So a lot of that which might today be slang was probably not slang at the time. Yeah. Vitikain betocho od arba'a otzarot la'arba pikidim. And we have also within this body, we have another four forces that are under these four domains. Ritzoni lomar, and what he's going to say now, it applies most tightly to the digestive tract, but I think it applies to even more than that. Meaning, there's hakoach hamoshech, there is the power, the koach hamoshech, which brings along, which carries along, right? Let's say when it comes to the digestive tract, that I believe is called peristalsis, which moves the food or whatever it is down to the proper places. hakoach hamachazik, and the power, the force of machazik, right, which holds on to things and doesn't allow things to move, right, and that would be, let's say again, digestive tract. That would be in the stomach, where I think it's called the pyloric valve closes and keeps the food in the stomach until it is properly digested. Va'koach ha'ma'achal, and then as it passes on to the small intestines, that's where it actually gets digested, and the body chooses and extracts from this chyme, it's called, the food in that state, that which it needs, the nutrients and all the things that it could use. That's the machel, digesting. Va'koach hadocheh, and also the power of the force of docheh, of expelling, and that's when the body eliminates that which it has no use from that which we have ingested. But I think besides just the digestive tract, we have the ability, the body, and there are things that were meant to process along. There are things that we're meant to hold on to. There are things that we're meant to digest. We use that term also, right? To take it apart and see what we can gain from there. And there are things that we're meant to reject, right? To pass it along. One of my early important experiences that I had when I was here, I think my first year when I was here at the shul, is that someone came to me, sat down, and said to me, Rabbi, I have to be honest, I gain absolutely nothing whenever you speak. Right? Ouch. Yeah. Yeah. So I was getting pretty good feedback in general about the job that I was doing here. So thankfully, I was able to. My initial reaction was, "It's a free country. No one forces you to come here. There are other synagogues. If I'm not the guy, if this is not the place, so no one's forcing you to stay here." But I didn't pout and react in such a way. But I took a deep breath, and I said, "Oh, I really appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate the fact that you care enough about the shul and about me that you came to share that with me, so I could try to do better." And we got into a whole conversation, and I asked, so tell me, give me some pointed criticism, and the person said, well, you told this story, and that didn't resonate at all, and you made this point, and there, and I realized that what was happening is this person was picking something about my talk, didn't like it, and was kind of shutting off the whole thing. And I said, look, I'll be very honest with you, that when I hear someone speak, I'm never going to like everything the way the person is saying, but I'll always try to say, what can I walk away with? What can I extract? What can I digest? What do I need to expel? And what can I just pass along? But what can I digest and utilize? And sometimes a person makes a great point, but the example they bring, that wouldn't work. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work in the community. Well, they bring a great example, but I wouldn't want to use it for that point. I'd use it for a different point. Or they bring a story, and either I like the story, I don't like the story, but maybe I can use the story in a different way. So I'm always trying to walk away with, the lesson, the example, the story, and see what can I take. And I said to this person, I said, it sounds like that, whenever there's one part that you don't like, so then you sort of tune out completely. And this person said to me, wow, thank you, Rabbi. And this person said, that's an issue that I have. and that causes challenges in many of my interactions, areas in life. And I said, whenever I speak, or whoever you hear someone speak, right, or whatever situation, you should try to say, what positive thing can I walk away with? And when something comes along that doesn't resonate with you, just let it go. Don't fixate on that and say, but maybe the next thing will work for me. And that's what I think over here also. Besides, like I said, just the digestive tract, there's also the idea of what we hold on to, what we pass on, what we digest, what we eliminate, what we decide not to deal with. And those are decisions, and those are kochot, forces that we have, that we always must be trying to develop. Upizer ha'avadim. Oh, did I skip?
Yes.
I did skip. Sorry. The Tikain of Otzrotam. Thank you. Umishkanotam, and their storehouses, their dwelling places, are shtei merirot. Okay, this is going back to biology of 1,000 years ago. Are these two bitter things? Hashechora va'aduma. We have bile. We have different acidic juices in our body, which help with the digestion. Va'alecha halavana. We also have what we would call the lymphatic system. That's what he calls the lecha levana, the white liquids. That would be that which is where the brain sits and cushions that, and lymph in general. We have a whole lymphatic system in our body. V'adam, and also, of course, the blood, right, which is delivering the oxygen and the nutrients to every cell of our body. And incredible, you think about the capillary system and how many miles and miles and miles it is, right, to get to each and every cell of our body. The takanata heichal, that's what allows this palace of the human body to be in a mitukan state, in a fixed, proper state. Upizer ha'avadim mibayit umibachutz, and God spread the servants, the guardsmen, but the servants, both on the inside and the outside, la'avda u'lishomro, to serve and to safeguard this palace of who and what we are. Hapnimiyim, the inner servants. Hame'ayim, that's the innards, we say the intestines. Vagidim, vahametarim, va'atzavim, va'orkim. And the gidus are the sinews, probably cartilage, or the tendons. I'm not sure the metarim, atzavim, are those the bones? I'm not sure. How does he define in English all of these inner parts?
Tendons and
Ligaments, tendons and ligaments.
Ligaments are the gidim,
right?
Because they're tougher and
right. And atzavim.
Nerves.
Oh, so the atzbanit.
Yes.
So it's very, very tense or nervous. Atzban. That's good. Thank you. I should have known that. And the orkim are like the vessels.
The orkim are the
arteries. Okay. And I imagine he's not saying arteries as opposed to veins, but it means the entire circulatory system. V'achitzoniim. So those are the inner servants, those that serve inside the palace. V'achitzoniim, and those that are on the outside of the palace, hayadayim, hands, raglayim, feet, halashon, the tongue, v'harachem, isn't? Yeah, rechem typically is the uterus, the womb. Not sure. V'hashinayim, the teeth, v'atzipurnayim, and the nails, and that which is similar to them. It's interesting. Just surmising. Perhaps he uses the womb, the uterus, because that also interacts with an outside world in terms of the baby that's inside. right? The baby inside is almost an external that is internal. So you have that which interacts. Perhaps I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Ve'ichin lecha achar kein kesharim umatsuim, and then we have those kesharim, those connections, and the mitsuim, that which is be'emtza, those mediums, vein haruchaniot uvein hagashmiut, that which connects our physical self and our spiritual self. Actually, the way that we understand, the simple understanding of the bracha that we say after using the facilities in a successful manner, the bracha of Asher Yatzar, is we end off Rofei Kol Basar, God heals all flesh, Umaflila Asot, and acts in a wondrous way, right? So, and it's all about Yatzar et Adam b'chachma. God created humankind with wisdom. Well, I mean, animals all have the same wonders of digestion and elimination. So, what do we mean? Why is it Asher Yatzar et Adam b'chachma? What is unique about humankind in this bracha? An explanation that's given is that this bracha, the maflila sot, the wondrous part, is how God keeps the spiritual being and the physical being, these two strange bedfellows, how God keeps them coupled, interacting and interlacing, interfacing with one another during the extent of our life. At the time that the physical body is ready to finish its earthly sojourn, so then our understanding is that then that is when the neshama, which is the soul, which is the person with all of our feelings, etc., lifts off the body and then continues on in the next steps of its sojourn. So we need to have that which connects the two in our lifetime, ve'heim, and that is hadam hanovea, the blood that is flowing, v'hachum hatzvi'i, and our I believe it's called the homeostasis, where we maintain a certain body temperature. That's a vital part of life. V'ruach achiyuni, and that living spirit that we have. We have a living spirit, just like an animal has a living spirit, a spirit of life, without having a neshama, without having a soul. So we too have this ruach chiyuni, this living spirit, and then we also have the neshama. And when the living spirit is no longer a living spirit, that's when the body dies, and that's when the neshama lifts off of the body. Yes, Leah.
I cannot help but think how in this book, and that's therefore we all do it, relate to our body as a temple. Then life is holy. Temple.
Yeah.
Cherish the body.
Yeah.
Cherish life.
Yeah.
Versus other people on this earth, then don't have this appreciation and
Yeah.
attitude to
Yeah.
the body.
Yes, and that's why we have such respect for the body even after a person dies, that we treat it with such kavod. And from a Jewish perspective, a terrible thing to do is to cremate, is to burn the body. We don't burn the body. We return the body gently, respectfully to the earth from which it came.
And we don't kill easily.
Right, and we don't look at quality of life and say, oh, there's no quality of life, so why should we maintain this person? Besides the fact that it happens, we hear so many stories of people who were declared brain dead, or right, and then all of a sudden later on they reawaken and they come back to life. But even in a case where they don't, or they won't, but nevertheless, this is a sanctuary. This is a heichal, right? And I remember years ago, one of my students, when I was teaching in Israel, asked, Rabbi, I don't understand. We'll put a dog out of its misery. Why don't we have that same respect for a human being.
I agree with
Huh?
that. I agree
So
with
the
that.
answer that I gave is, well, a dog, it has is that physical life. And therefore, on the contrary, if we see that it is suffering, so then an act of kindness for us is to is to put it down, which is the nice way that we say that we basically kill it. But over here, we're talking about an neshama. We're talking about an eternity, and we're talking about a neshama that was sent here for a period of time. And who knows exactly what it's supposed to experience? Only God does, and therefore only God will say when it's time to recall that neshama. And for us to get involved there, we're not doing a chesed. we could be doing the greatest travesty to that person, to have taken away the few more. There's a famous story that in Shaarei Tzedek Hospital. I shouldn't say. I know what in a hospital in Israel, where a doctor had a patient who was terminal, and with just a matter of hours till the patient was going to die, and the patient was in tremendous pain, and therefore the doctor expedited, we'll say, the person's transition to the next world. And that night, the doctor had a dream, and it's not for me to say this dream was just a dream because of his conscience that was coming at him, or if this actually was a visitation. But whatever it was, we believe in this concept. And the doctor had a dream that night that the person came to him and said, "How could you have done that to me? All I needed was a few more hours of tsa'ar, of anguish, of difficulty in this world, and that would have cleansed me, and I would have had a pure, free ride up into the next stage. How dare you take that away from me?" Again, was it his conscience that was coming at him? Was it an actual visitation? Who knows, right? But according to our teachings and our traditions, that is a true concept. That whatever we go through here is all part of the calculation, and it's very, very measured. So it's very different from taking a dog out of its misery, or the racehorse that fell and got injured. So then that's the end of that racehorse. Okay. V'achar kain chibrech el ha'hechal hazeh chibur mitukan v'kashrach elav kesher mesudar b'yichalto v'chachmato yitbarach kedei sheyashlimu lecha hashlosha dvarim asher zacharti lach. And then Hashem, let's get this straight, 1 second. He connected to this palace of the human body a chibur mitukan, a connection that was properly arranged, and a kesher, a connection misudar, using his ability and his wisdom, kedei shiashlimu lecha hashlosha dvarim asher zacharti lach, in order that we would have those three needs that we need to have in this world. That's what he prepared. And again, that is the wisdom, the choices, and the challenges. Let's hear. And therefore, this palace has two royal advisors. V'hifkid aleim shnei sofrim, and each advisor has his scribe. V'natan lecha min avadim v'hashamashim kitzarchecha ba'olam hazeh, and that is there to serve you as your needs here in this world. Who are these two advisors? Ashnei yoatzim ha'echad me'em, these two advisors. One of them is Hu HaSeichel. That's the Seichel we call the Yetzer HaTov, the inclination to do good. Hamora Otcha, which guides you, teaches you, Mashiesh B'Ratzon Hakel, that which is within the realm of the will of God. Vayoes Hasheni, and the other advisor. The counterpart, ta'avatcha, those more physical, material desires. Asher tasiacha v'tasitcha b'ma shetaktzit Hashem Elokim baracha bo. And that will incite you and seduce you for the things that God will be angry, your Creator will be upset, will be angry about. And it's important to keep in mind that our understanding is that we're not, it's not the forces. So it's not the forces of bad against God and who's going to win. Is God going to win or Satan going to win? God created these two forces. But this force of the ta'ava, of the Yetzer Hara, what it really wants is to be beaten, to be overcome. And we see this in a number of places. When in the Torah, when Yaakov is wrestling with that angel. So our sages tell us that that angel was so to speak, Samael. It was the Yetzer Hara. So how did he lose? If that's God's messenger, how does God's messenger lose? It must be that it was sent to lose. It was sent to challenge, but ultimately to throw in the towel and to bow out, to tap out. And that is the role that this is meant to play. These are the challenges that we had before in the three necessary components of this world, which we said was the wisdom and good and evil and the challenges that makes our choices meaningful. Vashnei Sofrim, and the two scribes, Echad mehem, one of them writes, Kotev Maasecha HaTovim, all the good things that we do, whether we do it beseter, in a concealed manner that no one else knows about it, ubegalui, or in a open fashion, uvematzpun, or even that which we have in our heart, in our mind, in our conscience, ubanira al yidei mishtamshim, and those that are visible through these servants that we mentioned, mikol mashikadam, Zachrum and Asherim, all that we mentioned before, of the gates and the gatekeepers and the Negidim and the Bikidim, the officers and those who are appointed, the Avadim and the servants, Vayoatzim and the advisors, Vamishartim, Vahashamashim, the Misharet and the Misharet and the Shamesh. Right? So he explains here on the bottom, I have some commentators. Misharet is something, is a servant that is there on ofen kavua, on a consistent basis, and the shamish is someone who's there temporarily. So the good midot, the good attributes, are meant to be there as a misharet, as a kavua, as a set, almost constant. The midot haraot are there to temporarily use them. Even bad midot can sometimes be used l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven, but there we have to be. It's done in a sparing fashion. So that's one of the scribes. Vasofer hasheni, and the other scribe, hu hakodev ha'masim hara'im, he transcribes all of the not such wonderful things that we do, think, act upon, or plan to do, ala derech hanizkar, in the same manner that we mentioned by the ma'asim hatovim. The Chavetz Chaim says that the technological advances that we have are all meant to strengthen our emunah, our faith, in many of the different teachings, right? And well after the time of the Chavetz Chaim, so the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says that all of our words, b'sefer nichtavim, are written down in a sefer. I imagine people used to think, what are you talking about? What library can possibly have all the words that I have ever spoken? How much more so all the words that every human being has ever spoken? And now we say, a thumb drive could easily take care of all the words that I've ever spoken, right? For generations, right? So all the technological advances. So we have these sofrim, that everything that we do and say, right, L'tov l'mutav, whether it's for good or otherwise, all of that is constantly being recorded. It takes on a certain life of its own. V'amishartim v'shamashim, and these mishartim v'shamashim, they are the midot hanefashiyot. Those are our different midot, our different character traits, or let's see, kasimcha, happiness, daga, worry, sason, rejoicing, yagon, sorrow, zichron, remembering, shikha, forgetting, chachma, wisdom, sichlus, foolishness, hagavura, strength or courage, veha morach, or fear, hanedivut, generosity, vachilut, or stinginess, hatzedek, justice, righteousness, resha, evil, haboshet, humility, humbleness, vahazut, and brazenness, audacity, tikva, hope, vahayira, fear, ha'ava, love, vasina, hatred, hahana, pleasure, batsar, pain, hagava, haughtiness, hanava, humility, hasurara, loftiness, vashiflus, lowliness. Vaharbe ke'elu mimash at mishtameshet bahen b'matzponcha. And many other such traits that we are always jostling with and contending with, right, deep in our minds. Good. V'habori barach, and the Creator commanded, Siva hashoarim, these gatekeepers, v'anigidim, and the officers, begidim, avadim, v'yoatzim, v'mashartim, v'ashamashim, he commanded all of them, lishmoa lecha, to follow your lead. You are in the driver's seat. V'lamod lemitzvatcha, and to stand there ready to do your bidding. Ad kates yadua, until that set time when everyone's time on this earth comes to an end. Ella, besides inyanim yuchadim ba'adam, certain extraordinary times or situations that a person endures, right? So they were commanded to follow be'et hidchabratum elecha, when they connect with us, to be our trusted servants, to follow through on our wishes, besides those inyanim yuchadim, v'hem inyan ha'hechrech u'makom ha'gzeira. There are times when there is a decree, and that is then beyond our control. But besides that, they do our bidding. So I shared on Shabbos. I started a women's Gemara class on Shabbos after the Kiddush luncheon. So we're learning Masechet Megillah, the tractate of Megillah, and I was showing how there's the Megillah, the actual scripture of Megillat Esther. There's what the Gemara says on it, and then there's a lot that is contained in that which the Gemara says on it. All right. For example, I brought the pasuk says that at Achashverosh's party, Kikain Siva HaMelech, the king had commanded Lasot to do. No one was forced. Hashir Kadat Ein Ones. The drinking was done properly. No one was forced to drink. Right? Kikain Siva HaMelech. That's what the king had commanded. Lasot Kirtzon Ish V'ish, to do the will of Ish and Ish, of simply of every man. The Gemara says, who's called Ish in Megillat Esther? Ish Yehudi. Mordechai. So one Ish is Mordechai. Who else is called an Ish, a man, in the Megillah? Ish, Tzarvoye, Haman, Hara Hazeh. Right? Haman. So therefore, the Gemara seems to be saying on a simple level that who were the officers in charge of this big banquet party? Mordechai and Haman. And Achashverosh commanded them, don't force anyone to do anything. Everyone should be at ease, doing as they wish. But the Vilna Gaon takes it to a whole other level, that Gemara. And he says, no, that the Gemara is saying a lot more than that. Because this party, he says, is a reference to this world, which is a party. And Kikain Tziva HaMelech, that's what the king had commanded. And we know, it's well known, that when it says HaMelech Achashverosh in the Megillah, King Achashverosh, that means Achashverosh. When it says just HaMelech, just the king, that's a reference to God. Kikain Tziva HaMelech, because that's what the king had commanded. I'll call something Beito on all those who are in charge of his house, and that's all the angels, all that we're discussing over here. Lasot kirtzon ein ones, no one's forced. Lasot kirtzon ish v'ish, but to do the will of this person and that person. Who's ish v'ish? Mordechai and Haman. Meaning, if a person chooses and wants to become a Mordechai, great, that's your choice. You can become a Mordechai. You want to become an ish? You want to choose to become a Haman? That's your choice. Ein ones, no one is forced. So these officers that he spoke about, they are enlisted to do the will of a person, and that's how we take responsibility for it, and that's how we have the challenges, and we make the choices, and we are the sum total of those choices, right? Besides, there are certain situations like Paro, the last 5 plagues. There, his free will was taken away to a certain degree, different ways of understanding that, but that was not coming as a challenge then. That was coming as a consequence for his actions until that point. But typically, their charge is to do that which we are charged to do. Okay, good. We'll call it over here. Okay.
Thank you.